Don, just to pick up on that from Bruno Fernandes, because we did say we'd touch on it. Was he treading a tricky line there? He was already on a yellow card, and then he's time-wasting after Liverpool score.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the law is, Kay, because obviously the ball wasn't back in play, so I don't know if the referee's looking at the watch ticking along or until the kickoff's happened. Can he technically then be time-wasting? It's annoying, don't get me wrong. Liverpool fans would have hated it. Mo Salah would have hated it as well. It's annoying as a player. Again, without knowing the exact law on it, I'm not sure how you could issue a yellow card. I think the referee probably would have just given him a warning, to be honest, but he was naughty.
Just going back to Manchester United, though, while we do put the praise out there, Ten Hag has gone with his players tonight. He's dropped the captain, Harry Maguire. It's worked for him. What does that tell us?
Well, I hope it tells us that the next time the Man United team sheet comes out, Ronaldo's not on it and Maguire's not on it. And particularly Rashford. To me, Rashford is a centre-forward. I mean, it's no surprise. When Rashford was at his best, he was playing centre-forward for Manchester United in England. And the worst thing that they could have done is stick him out wide, which is what they did. And the guy's been in the periphery ever since. And all of a sudden, you put him back up front and you see the enthusiasm that he had. And the worst thing for defenders, and particularly for a defence that tries to hold a line, is when you've got somebody who's got pace and who's got ability and who's looking to run in behind you. It makes you panic and it makes you wary and it makes you make mistakes. And that's what Rashford did tonight. As bad as I'm saying the back line was, a lot of that was down to Rashford because of the timing of his runs and the fact that he's looking to run in behind him, which as a defender, we absolutely hate.
It tells you he just doesn't trust these players, plain and simple. Not Ronaldo. Ronaldo, it was not dropped because he's not a goal threat, as I mentioned at the top of the show. He was dropped because he wanted more energy and more pace in behind. That's what he wanted, and that's what he got. The others, you know, were dropped because McTominay was an extra physical threat than Fred and was more energetic and was tidy on the ball, and it allowed Eriksen to go and join in. And the back line was changed because he just doesn't trust them. And we talked about it the other day. Raphael Varane, for all he's won in the game, is not the most silky on the ball. But guess what? And it showed tonight with some of his passes. But they don't need silky passes at the moment. They need defenders that will defend. Try and keep a clean sheet. Try and win a game. Worry about passing the next game or the next game or the next game, whatever it is. But he just had to get people in this game today that were able to do the basics. And I honestly thought the fight in that Man United starting 11, and even Martial when he come on, who's been, I'm going to be nice to him and say average.
But was that telling as well that it was Martial and not Ronaldo coming on? Well,
Martial is pacier and will take the ball for a run. Look, this narrative is not Ronaldo. It's not. He's a goal scorer now, and he will get his quota of goals. But he needed to do things a different way. And if Ronaldo can't accept that, and I'm sure it's going to be a difficult one to swallow, but not probably unsurprising to him, then he's got a few days, him and his management team, before the end of the transfer window to sort it out. But I don't think there's any desperation to get him back into the side, not at all.
So what do you think it means for Cristiano Ronaldo's future, Gab? Because he's not likely to be a player who wants to come on for the last 10 minutes in Manchester United's games.
No, certainly not at this stage of his career. Is there a scenario where he may accept it to be fresh for the World Cup and then maybe move somewhere for the knockout stages of the Champions League? Possibly, but I don't think so because, you know, he's such a competitor. The difficult thing, as we've said this all along, Kay, is he has an enormous salary. It's not clear that United would let him go for free. I would assume they would have to maybe even pay him off a little bit to leave, and then he would have to go and take a pay cut and play elsewhere at Champions League level. I've been willing to bet all along that he wasn't going to be there September 1st. That said, there's very few places where I think, you know, it would make sense for him to go and it would make sense for them to take him. That's a difficult thing that we're running up against. I speculated about Real Madrid. That was just a little bit of fun. I don't know. It would be an incredible story. Real Madrid already said they're not going to do any more business, so who knows? But obviously he's got a lot to think about. But at the same time, I'd also be surprised if in the next game, if it's a different sort of opponent, one that's not going to go and engage you the way Liverpool do, one that's not going to have as much of the ball. Maybe you don't want a pacey striker. Maybe, as Craig said earlier, maybe you want one of the best goal scorers in your team, or the best goal scorer in your team. So I don't know if that chapter is entirely closed, but it's certainly on its way to closing. Let's say that.
Manchester United taking on Southampton next up. Don, just a word on Cristiano Ronaldo, because Ten Hag did say afterwards in the post-match presser there will be opportunities for him this season, and he's still going to play a vital part.
Yeah, but I mean, Ten Hag's shown his card tonight, and Man United fans have come away with a win against their arch rivals, and they've gone, right, that's how we want to play. We want to play with energy. I think Ten Hag's, as I said a couple of weeks back when Cristiano didn't turn up for pre-season, I think Ten Hag was like, so what? I think he's a strong enough manager to say, and now he's got the result behind him where he can back it up next week if he wants to put Ronaldo on the bench. I thought he was smart with Maguire because Ten Hag knew that Firmino was going to start the game, so there was no point in playing Harry Maguire because of the lack of pace. So he went with Lisandro Martinez, who's got more aggression, and he shoved Firmino into a midfield area. But on Ronaldo, I think Ten Hag's a brave enough man to turn around and say, next game, unchanged side. You're going to have to wait, and if the window comes around and you want to move, go and move, because I don't think you can carry him, Kay. When Man United tried to have Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen and Ronaldo in the same 11, without the ball, the big sides would have been like this. Wow, Man United without the ball down to 8 men because they're not going to trace back. So now you've shown what pace and what energy and what character and what bravery can do against a really good Liverpool side, by the way. But, Ten Hag's calling all the cards here, not Ronaldo. As
a manager, Stevie, how would you deal with this Ronaldo situation?
Exactly what he's done today, and keep it the same way. The fact that you send a team out that performs the way that Man United did today, then you ain't changing it for anybody, Ronaldo or no Ronaldo. So I think it's given Ronaldo food for thought. And if he's got any sense, which I'm sure he has, he'll realise that when it comes to the big games, he's sitting on the bench. Because when it comes to the big games, United will play the way they did against Liverpool. They will be sitting back and trying to hit them on the break. And that means that it's going to be Martial with pace. It's going to be Rashford with pace. It's not going to be Ronaldo. So he better get ready for that, that's for sure. And Ronaldo's a guy that wants to play in the big games. He didn't come to Man United to play against Southampton next week or any of these sides. He wants to be scoring in the big games. But they've shown that's how they're going to play. Because they ain't going to turn around. They ain't going to turn into Ajax next week against Southampton. I'm telling you that.
Go on, Gab.
No, I just want to say it's interesting because, he can come out and say we want to play with energy and pace and blah, blah, blah. And by the way, I have yet to hear a manager say, oh, we want to play with lethargy and being slow out there. But the fact of the matter is, they beat United. They had to play this way. So they beat Liverpool. They had to play this way to beat them. They were vindicated. But they did it with 29% possession at home against a team that, obviously we're struggling and we're missing a lot of players. Against other teams, I don't think he can go out and play this way in terms of just a lot of energy and the counterattack. He's going to have to figure out a way to take the game to the opposition. He's going to have to go to the next level. He's going to have to see much more of the ball, have people who can move the ball. Now, obviously, he's got the tools to do that. Whether he's best served doing that with a genuine goal threat like Cristiano Ronaldo, or with this, movable feast of Rashford, Martial, Sancho, whoever, I don't know. Maybe I'm being naive here, but I kind of take Ten Hag at his word when he says there's going to be certain games when we can use Cristiano Ronaldo, and it's not just necessarily going to be, games against the minnows.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.